but for what he needs us to do. Amen. And then there are other behaviors as well that are important that we don't do. Like in Romans 13:13. Let us talk paris, prop, properly as in daytime, not in orgies, drunkenness, or not sexual immorality, and not sensuality, not quarreling and jealous. These are just a few of the behaviors that we do. Some of us know we're doing it, and other people may not. It may not click in their head because, like, especially acting sexual when you're around somebody, and he's acting like, oh, how are you doing? Just acting like you don't want to talk to nobody else but that single person. So we cannot do that. That is very bad for us. Especially in the church. Yes. And that will keep us from our everyday life with Jesus. We won't be able to use it. We can't do anything if you have these qualities, these qualities. Okay. There are a few more I would like to mention. They are complaining and causing discord among brothers and sisters of Jesus. In Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasions, that it may give grace to those who hear you. We're not supposed to be tearing down people with our mouth. We're not supposed to complain about the things that we do. We're supposed to do it happily and with love and caring. We're not supposed to go, I got to do this back. It's not somebody else's business. We're not supposed to do that. And then sowing discord is another one that God really hates. Because why? It puts us against each other, especially in the church that does not. Because we got to be one. We cannot be separate from what He wants us to be. Because we're supposed to work together as a group, not as individuals. This is not an individual thing. It's a group thing. I forget who said this, but it was at one of the things we listened to, that it doesn't matter what church you are or what name your church is, that we're still just one body. And all of us are to be working together. All the churches, not just little groups of individual churches. All the churches in Williamsport are to get together and see how they can work together. Do things that God needs us to do. Okay. Romans 16:17. I appeal to you, brothers, to watch out for those who cause division and create obstacles contrary to the doctrine that you have been taught. Avoid them. And we're taught. All of us are taught. Even leaders, we're taught how to help people when that stuff goes on. We're supposed to help them get through it and show them that that's not what we're doing. Because it does cause a lot of sin and causes a lot of pain. Yeah. Because if you're talking about somebody, they might overhear you. And do you know what that does to a person who's trying to move up and do what God tells them to do? It knocks them back down for a while. It is very, very hard for them to try and get back up. This was also for me because things went crazy a while ago. And gossiping, that's a big one too. We are not to be talking about each other. or anybody outside the church. I know we all have the habit sometimes of doing it, but we got to stop doing it. And in Romans 3:23 says, we have all sinned and fell short of the glory of God. Yes, we have. All of us. Not one more than the other. But we all sin because that was our nature, was a very sinful nature. So you need to keep in mind what you're doing, what you're saying, what comes out your mouth. Because we all know what comes out of our mouth is what defiles us. And keeps us from doing what Jesus wants us to do. Like bad behavior, there are many good behaviors. Some are love, kindness, patience, long-suffering, gentleness, and many others. The thing I The things I named are from the fruit of the Spirit. Fruit of the Spirit is in Galatians 5:22 and 23. These may be fruits of the Spirit, but these are the way we're supposed to have. We're supposed to act. We need to be kind to each other. We need to love each other. Love is a big one. We really have to learn to love our enemies too. Because God says that's important. We need to love our enemies. There are some things there are some more things that are good behaviors, like Proverbs 20:11. Even a child makes known by, even a child makes himself known by his acts and whether his conduct is pure and upright. Even a child can tell you even a child can be told if he or she is good or bad by what they do. And if they're not acting the right way, do you know whose fault it is? It's our fault. Because we're supposed to be teaching children how to act like what it tells us to do in the Bible. And yes, even adults. Some adults that don't quite get it, we need to help them so they can understand what in the way they need to act. And it's very important that we teach our children to act the right way, to the way God wants us to act. Our actions and behavior will affect our children and other people. So our behavior and actions must be the way Jesus wants us to be. We need to have a mind like Jesus. Like it tells us in 1 Peter 2:11. For this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for leaving you an example, so that we may follow in his footsteps. We all have to follow in God's footsteps, or Jesus' footsteps. That's what he wants us to do. He suffered for us, so why can't we suffer for our brothers and sisters? Or for ourselves, It's not a good look if you say you are a believer and you say, oh well, they got themselves in this mess. And you don't even pray for them. Or you don't even talk to them about it. Help them try to get through things that they're going through. That's what Jesus wants us to do. He wants us to show our good behaviors, like integrity and purity, and do the things that he needs us to do. It is very important that our good behavior shows more than our bad behavior. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
I want to give y'all a remedy for gossip. You know how you can gossip? You start turning that into a prayer. See, if I start talking about somebody, people don't know. In my head, I start praying. That's what we need to do. You're trying to explain something to about somebody, you got to put it in your head and start praying. lot of times that's why friction happens, is because we're saying the wrong thing. And we need to learn how to pray for that person. And I keep saying this, Lord, I am the last one you come to about somebody else. You got 4 actually. Assistant pastor, Elder Janet, Elder Sue, Elder Janet is next, then Deacon Timothy, and then Evangelist Emily. They are our leaders. And if you have a problem, that's why I assign each one to one. And go to that person. Talk with them. Make sure you spend time with that person and do what they said. Because if they come back to me and say, you're not listening, yes, we just go ahead. Because you're causing discord. That's what you're doing. And when you come to me first before going to that person, you're causing discord. You got to get these things together because see, Satan count on this stuff to divide us. And you know what? On a good scripture she said, and I was glad she said, Romans 3:23. We all come short of the glory of God. You can't point your finger at nobody, but there go you. And that's why my favorite scripture to that is when a brother is overtaken, that means women too, is overtaken in a fault. He who is spiritual, restore them in the spirit of meekness, because you will be overtaken in that same fault. See, you always complain about somebody else, but you better take a look at your own self. Well, there goes you. And that's the way I see things. You know, my childhood and my development, I had so much confusion. And I had to learn. You know, some people try to say I'm stern. I don't play when it comes to the word. I'm not going to back down because this is the way God made me, not to back down. Amen. Because I'm standing up for righteousness' sake, integrity. Yeah. See, we got too much foolishness going on out in here in this world, and it's destroying us, destroying people. And we got to get it together before it's too late. Too many people is going ahead. Too many. And I'd rather be hard. And y'all gonna know I cry when I have to be hard on it. It hurts me to my heart. But see, I did that for years. And people walked all over me. They did not pay me no. And God came to, and you know, I used to go to God, God, I need to shut up. And you know what he said? God, you ain't gonna shut up. I made you stern. I made you hard. Sometimes people need to be rebuilt. Sometimes you got to have that, because if somebody running out the street about to get destroyed, and you say, stop. But when you don't stop, see the difference? Because that means, you know, I taught 2 words. What's my 2 key words, y'all? Anybody know my 2 words? And I taught you the difference. Do you remember, Timothy? My 2 key words. One you do soft, and one you do harsh. Purge is what? Sometimes you got to be harsh. And if you ever watch me, I start off hard. You'll start seeing me slowly coming down. Because once I come down, it's over for us. It's over. I have given it to the Lord. And I will walk back away from you and come back, act like nothing happened. Because that's the way you're supposed to do it. Because you give it to the Lord. To the next time. That's what we're supposed to do. Because some people you can be soft with, and some people you got to be hard. They are so stubborn. They're so stubborn, and they need to be broken in the potter's house. When he keeps smashing that clay, why? Because it got hard and it's unproductive. So you got to beat it down so it's softened up, so it can mold it all over again, that it'll come out better than what it's supposed to. Because see, if I don't, the devil gonna get you, and you're gonna be lost. See, even in that lesson, when the servant went out there to the highways and he said, compel, you know what that means? He made them come. That's what compel me, is to make it do it harshly. That word compel means to do it harshly. Go out there and tell them they better get their butt in here. The other people didn't want to, because they gonna miss out. But I'm about to bless you, so get your butt in here. And then one other, if you really check the story, one in the story, is one came in there, and he wasn't dressed right. And you know what happened to him? He got thrown into the outer dark. How dare you? You're about to get a blessing. Something that you didn't deserve, and you gonna come in here any old kind of way? It got cast in the outer darkness. See, we don't supposed to allow that. Sometimes we gotta fuss with people. Because God told me in 2 Timothy 4, rebuke them. But sometimes, you just don't want to use those two beautiful things that God gave you. But sometimes God has to. Because you know what he told me one time? He said, keep thinking. It says God has to still voice. But when he talks to you, it's actually right. If he talked to me in that sweet still voice, it was loud. See, because otherwise, Moses wouldn't be able. Because remember, he was feeling the right. See, sometimes you got to check things out. You got to say stuff in a certain way, and you got to check all the scriptures around it and get the idea of what God is saying. And remember, when Jesus went in that temple and they were selling, he tore that place up. He didn't touch nobody. He tore it up. And you know they was in there screaming and fussing, and it didn't stop them. Because he knew he had to get order. And that was harsh. Yes, he was. He knocked the tables over, all the change and money they were selling. He gave it back to the people. That's why he knocked over. Stop selling this stuff. That's why we ain't supposed to sell nothing. That makes God mad. That's not what we're supposed to do in the house of the Lord. This is a sacred place where no matter what room you decide to worship God, it is sacred. And we can't just go in there doing any old kind of things. That's like even when we the kids, I tell them, don't play in my sanctuary. Because this is holy, just like back here. This is a holy spot. We remember when Moses went up on the mountain, God made him take his shoes off because he said, where I am is holy. You can't come to God any old way. This is holy ground. And we got to learn these things so we can get in order. When we at overseas, you can't go past them tables, y'all. If you're not a minister or not, you're not past them tables. That is holy ground. And everybody is not allowed to go up there. Some of her things she do, that's the way God taught her. And it's things that God taught me. Because God got an order for everybody. And we supposed to be subject to one another. We honor her house. And she has to honor ours. Because this is what God says. That's how we need to become because we not do us all the same. Thank you for the message. Amen. Now it's time for communion.